Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, Gardening Cold Spring Harbor. I hope everyone is staying safe and warm. In today's video, I want to talk about one of the most popular plants for the winter holiday season, the humble poinsettia. This time of year, we see poinsettias being sold in almost every single supermarket and definitely in every single garden center. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how you can choose the best, the healthiest poinsettia plant when shopping. I'm going to give you easy yet proven poinsettia care tips. And for those of you who will stick with me till the end of this video, I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions on how you can keep poinsettia in your home growing every month of the year as a house plant, and how you can get your poinsettia plant to rebloom for you once again come next winter holiday season. So for those of you looking for an online gardening channel that offers tips, tricks, easy yet proven gardening advice to take your home gardens to that next level, don't go anywhere, guys. Stick around with me today. Start with going below this video and clicking the subscribe button. If you are enjoying the content of my garden videos and never want to miss yet another garden video, click the bell icon as well. YouTube will send you notifications every single time I'll upload a new garden video. Now let's get started. Before I get into the poinsettia care tips, I want to quickly talk about the pronunciation. I know that there's a lot of discrepancies when it comes to the name of this plant. Many call it poinsettia, while others pronounce it exactly as it's spelled with an I and call it poinsettia. So the pronunciation of the name is actually regional. Those living in the Midwest refer to this plant as poinsettia, where many others drop the I and call it poinsettia. Many gardening encyclopedias, gardening books, websites, as well as the dictionary accepts either one of the pronunciations as the correct one. So regardless if you call the stunner poinsettia or poinsettia, actually the proper botanical name or term for this beauty is euphorbia. And poinsettia is actually native to Mexico and Central America. In its natural growing climate, it grows in a hot, humid zones. And when grown outside in the ground, poinsettia can grow anywhere between 2 to 13 feet in height and in width. So in its natural environment, it's actually considered a shrub and or a tree. However, here in the US, as long as actually in many parts of the world, we consider and treat our poinsettia plants as house plants. So again, poinsettia is actually native to very, very warm, hot, if I may say, and humid tropical climates. It's actually very interesting how here in the United States, we have adapted poinsettia to grow and to bloom during one of the coldest months of the year, where it's actually in its natural environment would never ever grow nor bloom, not even thrive in cold winter temperatures. So again, many think of poinsettia as being a flower. It's actually not a flower, guys. It is actually a shrub or a tree in its natural environment. And in fact, many look at the beautiful, colorful foliage on our poinsettia plants and think that this colorful foliage is the flower or the bloom of the poinsettia plant. In fact, that couldn't be any further from the truth. This beautiful, colorful foliage that we see on top of our poinsettia plants are actually the extension of the poinsettia's actual green foliage. So these colorful petals are actually called bracts. B-R-A-C-T-S. And they're not the flower or the blooms of our poinsettia plants. Again, they're just extension of poinsettia foliage. Now you might ask, so what are the blooms? Where are the blooms? Well, let me show you. I'm going to show you a very clear example on this beauty over here. So if you look at the most interior bracts over here, and you see these round shaped structures over here in the middle on the most interior bracts, these round shaped structures are actually the poinsettia plant's blooms. If you see that they're nice and closed and green, that means that the flower buds have not yet opened up and bloomed. If you're starting to see whether yellow or red or pink pigmentation on them, that means that those flower buds have actually opened up and started to bloom. So now, poinsettia plants come in over 100 different varieties around the world. And these varieties range anywhere from different color to different sizing. Even over here in my home, you could see that I have multiple poinsettia plants, and each one has different beautiful color, ranging from traditional red to pink to off-white to a combination of multiple colors in one. So now I'm going to break up this video into 3 parts or 3 segments. In the first segment, I'm going to give you all the tips and all the tricks, easy yet proven instructions on how you could choose the best, the healthiest, and the perfect poinsettia plant for your own home when shopping for poinsettias. In segment number 2, I am going to give you all the poinsettia care tips so your poinsettia plant can stay just as beautiful, just as colorful, and it can continue blooming for you the entire holiday season. And for those of you who will stick around with me till the very end of this video, I am going to give you step-by-step instructions on how you can prolong your poinsettia's life, have it growing in your home as a perennial plant, and what you can do to have your poinsettia plant rebloom for you the following winter holiday seasons. So let's get started. Now let's talk about how you can pick out the best, the healthiest poinsettia plant for your home. In this segment, I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions on what to look out for when shopping for a poinsettia plant, so you can bring home the best and the healthiest plant that you can get your hands and money on. With over 100 poinsettia varieties in the world, poinsettias don't only come in the standard white or red colors. Poinsettia also comes in beautiful bright pink color, stunning lime green color, subtle light pink color. Poinsettia also comes in a combination of colors, such as this one, subtle pink with beautiful deep green. If that color combination wasn't gorgeous enough, take a look at this one. This poinsettia is also a combination of 2 colors, beautiful bright pink in the center, followed by off-white colored edges. With over 100 poinsettia varieties, the color combinations are endless. Here's yet another beautiful poinsettia with subtle pink and off-white hues. And take a look at this showstopper over here, guys, with a beautiful bright white petals and a combination of subtle green hues on the edges. Isn't this one just absolutely stunning? When you're shopping for a gorgeous poinsettia plant, whether it's in your local supermarket or a garden center, you must always make sure that the plant which you will select has not been stored or kept in a windy, drafty location. Here you could see racks filled from top to bottom with beautiful new wrapped poinsettia plants. However, these racks have been positioned in very close proximity to an automatic door. With the automatic door opening and closing every few minutes as customers come in and come out of the garden center, all of the nearing plants, even the Christmas bell, take a look guys, have been exposed to continuous cold wind drafts. Hence, the plants have now wilted and got frost-bitten. Same concept applies to our poinsettia plants. When choosing the healthiest, the best poinsettia plant for your own home, make sure that you select the poinsettia plants which have been kept as far away as possible from any door or any window, especially automatic doors that open and close every few minutes. Most of the time you will see poinsettias being sold in some sort of a plastic wrap or plastic cover. Don't be afraid to kind of move the cover over to see the entire foliage of the plant. What you're looking for is to make sure that all of the leaves or the foliage of your poinsettia plant are nice and deep green. What you don't want to see is any yellow leaves, such as this one. This is already an indication that this plant is not happy, that this plant is not doing good for whatever reason. Another thing you don't want to see when it comes to poinsettia foliage is any leaves that have started to shrivel up like this one, or even this one. The fact that the leaves are not deep green and are not, perked up, such as this one or this one, the shriveling of the leaves is also a bad indication. This plant is not healthy or happy as well. Here is the rack, which is standing closest to an automatic opening door. So here is the top of the rack, and I just want to pull one of the poinsettias down and show you exactly what is happening and what I was talking about just a few minutes ago. Here you go, guys. Let's take one of the poinsettias down from the top of the rack. Take a look at the leaves, guys. Here is the poinsettia, which I just lowered from the top rack. It is beautiful off-white color. And I started to pull off the plastic cover just a little bit and take a look what is happening already. The leaves are not green. The leaves are all mushy, shriveled up, and have started to fall off already. When shopping for a poinsettia plant, specifically a healthy poinsettia plant, you always want to remove the protection cover, the plastic cover, and take a full look at the poinsettia plant's foliage. There should be plenty of green, deep colored green leaves. So the stalks of your poinsettia plant should be covered with many beautiful, healthy leaves. The stalks of your poinsettia plant should never be naked or exposed. So again, here is that poinsettia, which was kept on a rack closest to an automatic opening door. And I also pulled the protection off, the cover off. Take a look at the stems of this poinsettia plant. They're almost bare and exposed. Look how little foliage, green foliage, remains on these stalks. Almost none. Just a few below the bloom, but almost nothing towards the soil surface. That's another indication that this plant is not healthy and not happy. So now you guys looked at the foliage, at the stems. What else should you look for when shopping for a healthy poinsettia plant? And the key term here is healthy. When looking at a poinsettia plant, regardless of the plant variety or the plant coloring, what many don't realize is that these colorful leaves or petals, they're not poinsettia blooms. In fact, the colorful foliage is actually an extension of the lower green leaves. And these colorful leaves or foliage are actually called bracts. B-R-A-C-T-S. They are not poinsettia plant blooms at all. They're an extension of poinsettia foliage. So where are the actual poinsettia blooms, you might ask? Let me show you. So where are the poinsettia blooms? Here they are. These small round shaped structures in the very center of the bracts are the poinsettia flowers or the poinsettia blooms. Again, this colorful, beautiful foliage, they're not poinsettia blooms. They're just leaf extension, foliage extension of the poinsettia plant. These little round structures in the very, very center of your poinsettia are the poinsettia flowers or the poinsettia blooms. Here are the flowers and the blooms of this poinsettia, guys. This is simply a different poinsettia variety with different coloring. However, the blooms are once again located in the middle, in the center, right by the most outward facing bracts. The flowers and the blooms are most easiest seen on the traditional red colored poinsettia plant, and let me show you guys what they look like when they are in absolute full bloom. Isn't this beautiful? Here is another example of the poinsettia flower blooms. So these are the actual flowers and the actual blooms. Don't they look so stunningly beautiful? Talking about the poinsettia blooms, what is the next thing you should look for when choosing the best and healthiest poinsettia plants? I always take a very close look at the poinsettia plant which I'm choosing. Another thing you must always look for are the flower buds and the flower blooms. I always make sure that the buds or the blooms are in fact present, that they're there first and foremost. Second of all, I like to get the poinsettia which have some buds in full bloom, like these yellow ones over here, and that some buds are still closed shut, meaning that this particular poinsettia will continue to bloom for me even when I bring it home. If you will see that majority of the flower buds have already opened up and starting to bloom, such as this one over here, just be aware that this particular poinsettia plant might have a shorter blooming time span left versus a poinsettia which has majority of its flower buds still shut. Another very important thing to look at when choosing the healthiest poinsettia plant is looking at the coloring of the most interior bracts. The coloring of the most interior bracts must always be a solid color. Never should it be discolored. If you see absolutely any discoloration on the most interior bracts, do not choose that poinsettia. That means that that poinsettia is not a happy poinsettia, and there's a high probability that once you bring it home, it will start losing the foliage as well as its bracts, essentially starting to die off, whether it's from a disease, whether it's from incorrect watering conditions, or maybe it's from being kept in the wrong place, somewhere near a wind draft. One more tip I want to share with you guys when it comes to shopping for healthy, beautiful poinsettia plants. Make sure you bring some sort of a plastic bag or a plastic cover with you. I know I always do. Poinsettia plants cannot be exposed to cold winds or cold temperatures. Even that brief car ride in the cold weather can hurt your poinsettia plants. I always carry a few clear plastic bags with me when I know that I'm shopping for a poinsettia plant. It can be a garbage bag, some sort of a grocery bag, anything. Basically, your poinsettia plant has to be wrapped from top to bottom during the transport. Don't think that you could take your poinsettia plant out of your trunk and bring it into the garage and those 20-30 seconds won't harm your poinsettia plant. They absolutely will, because don't forget, where do poinsettias grow in nature? In warm, humid, tropical climates. Here you go, guys. I have wrapped the poinsettia plant in the clear bag that I brought with me, and this is exactly how I'll be taking it to the register, also to my car and to my home. As you could see, the poinsettia plant is fully covered with the plastic cover, and I'm going to be as quick as possible when moving between the garden center and my home. The less cold air you expose your poinsettia plant to, the better your plant will be. One more very important thing you should look out for when shopping for a healthy poinsettia plant. You must make sure that the bracts, these colorful foliage of your poinsettia plant, is not torn, ripped, or damaged. So if you see a poinsettia plant with torn or damaged bracts, skip it, guys. Do not purchase it. Because poinsettias come in over 100 different varieties, poinsettia plants come in different colors and even different sizes. Check it out, guys. Check out these cute smaller size poinsettia plants. Here are the medium size poinsettia plants, and here are the stunningly gorgeous large size poinsettia plants. Now that you know how you can pick the best and the healthiest poinsettia plant that you can get your hands on, in this segment, I want to talk about all the things that you can do, so the care tips on how you can keep your poinsettia looking fresh, beautiful, and blooming for you the entire winter holiday season. So step number one is light exposure. Poinsettia plants like to stay in as much of bright indirect sunlight as possible. We're talking anywhere between 12 to 15 hours of bright indirect sunlight. Now, you can place your poinsettia plant on a windowsill. However, be very, very careful that the bracts or the foliage of your poinsettia plant is not touching the glass of your window directly, because if there is a cold breeze or cold draft, or say somebody decides to open up the window, that foliage that would be exposed to that cold breeze will suffer, shrivel up, and start to fall off. But light exposure is crucial when it comes to keeping your poinsettia plant healthy and happy. So now that we got the lighting down, what is the next very important care tip to keep our poinsettia plants healthy and happy? The next tip is to make sure that you keep your poinsettia plants at comfortable air temperatures. Poinsettia plants like air temperature just like we do, somewhere between 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, going back to their native growing climates. They like it warm and humid. Wherever you place your poinsettia, make sure it's nowhere near air registers or cold air drafts. Extreme cold or extreme hot temperatures will cause damage, if not completely kill off your poinsettia plant. Now let's move on to the next very important poinsettia care tip, and that tip is watering. How much and when should you water your poinsettia plants? You should never overwater your poinsettia plants. In fact, you should always do a finger test. What does that mean? You should always use your finger to feel the top soil surface of your poinsettia plant. When using your index finger to feel for moisture content in the soil, if you feel absolutely any moisture in the soil surface, the top layer of your soil, you should not yet water your poinsettia plant. When the top soil surface feels absolutely dry, say the top inch of the soil surface feels dry, then you should thoroughly water your poinsettia plant. Another very important watering tip is never let your poinsettia plant sit in the excess water. Make sure that you drain out any excess water. Now, say your poinsettia plant comes in a beautiful decorative planter, or it comes in some sort of beautiful gift wrapping like this one. What can and what should you do? Now, if your poinsettia plant came in a beautiful planter, any color, any shape, any size, what you should do is always remove your poinsettia plant out of the decorative container. That's step number one. Step number two, you always check for drainage holes. So this came in a traditional, just additional planting pot with drainage holes. So now, when you're watering your poinsettia, water it thoroughly, give it about 3 to 5 minutes, let all the excess moisture run out from the drainage holes prior to rewrapping your poinsettia plant and placing it back into the decorative container. If your poinsettia plant is standing in a plate or saucer of some sort, don't forget to spill out any excess water that might have accumulated in that saucer. Now, what can you do if your poinsettia plant came in a beautiful decorative wrapper? Again, you must either take out the pot from this decorative wrapper, moisten it thoroughly, water it thoroughly, let the excess moisture run off before placing it back into the decorative wrapper. Or you can use scissors or a knife or a blade and make holes, cut holes on the bottom of the wrapping paper, hence allowing any excess moisture to run out freely. And then you basically place your poinsettia plant back in its normal growing location. Watering is actually a very important and crucial element in poinsettia care. Again, always do a finger test. Check for the moisture content before watering your poinsettia once again. If you overwater your poinsettia, you will cause root rot. You will see the foliage of your poinsettia plants start to shrivel up, dry up, and fall off. Now, on the opposite end, what happens if you underwater your poinsettia plant? What will happen if you cause the soil to get too dry? You're going to see the bracts and the foliage of your poinsettia plant start to wilt down and droop down. So if you're seeing any droopiness to the bracts of the foliage, that most of the time, 99% of the time, means that you have not watered your poinsettia plant enough, that you have been under watering your poinsettia plant. So what is the next very important care tip when it comes to our poinsettia plants? And that is humidity level, providing enough humidity to our poinsettia plants. Remember guys, in nature, in Mexico, Central America, they grow in hot and humid climates. So say you have very low humidity in your home, very dry air. There are two things that you can do to keep your poinsettia plants happy and thriving. One thing you can do is place a humidifier in that room where you're keeping your poinsettia plants. I know that many of you will find that suggestion to be kind of ridiculous, because you can't have, multiple humidifiers on your home, or you don't want to carry a bulky humidifier from room to room to room. So that's fine, guys. What else you can do that's less tedious than purchasing a humidifier and carrying it around your home? You can mist your poinsettia plants on daily basis in the mornings. All you do is you take a spray bottle or a misting bottle, fill it up with room temperature tap water, and mist the bracts of your poinsettia plant, hence helping create that more humid environment that our poinsettia plants need and want, so they can thrive and bloom for us the entire winter and holiday seasons. Now, say you don't have a humidifier or don't want to get one, nor do you want to mist them on daily basis. What else can you do? Very easy yet proven poinsettia tip, guys. You can place and should place your poinsettia plants in a location or a room that has other house plants. The more house plants, the better, because the more house plants you have in one room, the better microclimate you will have for your poinsettia plants. Because the more plants, house plants you have in a room, and again, depending on the size of the room, the smaller the room, the better. Those additional house plants combined with poinsettia plants will help create their own favorable microclimate. They will adjust, they will create their own humidity that they are looking for and that their need. So by placing multiple house plants together with your poinsettia will be a free humidifier replacement for your home. So now many of you might be wondering or asking, do you have to fertilize your poinsettia plant? You do, but not during their bloom cycle. So you want to keep the fertilizer away from your poinsettia plants during the winter holiday season. Why, guys? Because if you apply fertilizer right now to your poinsettia plant while they're actively blooming, and again, I'm talking about the blooms that are in the middle of the bracts, you're going to disturb your poinsettia blooms blooming cycle. You will either shorten it, drastically shorten by adding that fertilizer, or you're going to stop it altogether. The blooms will start to fade and drop off from your poinsettia plant. Now, for those of you guys who have stuck around with me till the very end of this video, I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions how you can have your poinsettia plant grow in your home as a perennial, and how you can have that same plant rebloom for you every single winter holiday season. And I know that many of you are probably going to skip this section, because you know what? There are many home gardeners do find this process to be lengthy and kind of tedious. In fact, many only keep poinsettia as a house plant for the holiday season and then discard of it. Why? Because poinsettias are not that costly, and in fact they're widely available in any grocery store and any garden center throughout the holiday seasons. However, guys, the steps which I'm about to share with you are a bit tedious, yet they are proven, and if you follow these instructions, these steps throughout the year, I guarantee you that your poinsettia plant will bloom for you once again next winter season. Now let's talk about all the steps that you need to do if you want to keep your poinsettia plants past the holiday season. Step number 1, remember to water your poinsettia plants regularly, on a regular basis, when the top 2 inches of the soil are dry, especially during the poinsettia's blooming phase. Now, mid-spring, say end of April, beginning of May, once your poinsettia plant is completely done blooming, that is the time where you need to start fertilizing your poinsettia plant. At that time, beginning of May would also be an excellent time to repot our poinsettia plants. When you're repotting your poinsettia plants, make sure you pick the correct pot or container. You never want to choose a container that's too big. Always look at the size of the existing containers and maybe go one size up. We never want to go too big on that container. Next, we always want to prune our poinsettia plant sometime beginning to mid-May. So how much do we cut? So we take scissors or clean pruning shears and we cut the third top of the poinsettia plant. Maximum you want to cut is 2/3. We never ever prune off more than 2/3 of any plant, regardless of what it is or where it's growing. So now you pruned your plant, you're watering your plant, you're fertilizing your plant on a regular basis. So now what? Now you treat it as a house plant. Next step is how and when do you get it to rebloom for you? How do you get it to rebloom? Fall. Come fall. Say September. Mid to late September, beginning of October. What do you do? What you do is something very, very similar as you would do with a Christmas cactus plant. You put your poinsettia plant through a dormancy phase. I have a video on my garden channel, Gardening Cold Spring Harbor, where I give you step-by-step instructions on how I get my Christmas cactus to rebloom for me year after year. And I'll link that video up above so you guys could take a look at that video as well. So the dormancy steps for the poinsettia plant are very, very similar, if not identical, to the steps that we would take with a Christmas cactus plant. So what you would do is you would pinch off about 1 inch top of the poinsettia plant, and then we place our poinsettia plant in a cooler, dark location for at least 4 to 6 weeks. We also absolutely stop watering our poinsettia plant. So during those 4 to 6 weeks, we forget about our poinsettia plant. If you do not have that cooler, darker location at home, you can always use a tarp or a cloth to cover your entire poinsettia plant. Just make sure that the cloth will be solid cloth that will not allow any light to go through it. After those 4 to 6 weeks, we remove our plant from that cooler, darker location. We water it thoroughly and we bring it back to its regular growing location source, bright indirect sunlight location, and we start to water it regularly once again. And if you follow these steps, even though they might seem a bit tedious to some, I guarantee you that your poinsettia plant will rebloom for you once again next winter holiday season. This is it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here in Long Island, New York, Zone 7A. In today's video, I gave you easy yet proven poinsettia care tips, as well as step-by-step instructions on how you can get your poinsettia plant to grow from you year-round and to once again rebloom for you come next winter holiday season. For those of you who enjoyed the content of today's video, if you found today's video to be useful, informative, helpful in any way, show me that support by clicking thumbs up below. Leave your comments in the comments section as well. Let me know, do you grow poinsettia plants in your home? Do you discard them after the winter season? Or do you grow them as a perennial all year long and get them to rebloom for you every single winter season? For those of you who haven't yet subscribed to my gardening channel, Gardening Cold Spring Harbor, what are you waiting for, guys? Do so today. Super easy for you, yet super pleasing and rewarding to me, knowing that you guys enjoy watching my videos and that you find the content of my videos to be helpful, useful, and informative. Click the subscribe button below. Don't forget to click the bell icon if you want YouTube to notify you every single time I upload a new gardening video. Be healthy, happy, be well, guys, each and every single one of you. Happy upcoming winter holidays and happy gardening, guys, and I'll see you again in my new upcoming gardening videos. Bye, guys.